Hello, receiving students, ATs, and receiving teachers. Thank you. Take your seat. Okay, in our last lesson, we looked at equally likely outcomes. Strand will be on sets, chains and data, and the substrand will be on sets. Learning outcome 8.42. Use sets to solve problems from real life. And the lesson topic for today is Venn diagram. What is Venn diagram? Class? Venn diagram is a diagram showing very good. So Venn diagram is simply diagram showing relationship between sets. Now, before we go on to understand more on Venn diagrams, how we can represent sets in Venn diagrams, let us look at this example. We will go through an example, or I'll explain this example. The example is also in your receiving student's book. The diagram of it is also in your book. But I'll explain how those sets were presented in the diagram. So, the example here is represent all set of whole numbers that is from 1 to 20 in a Venn diagram as multiples of 2 and multiples of 3. Now, the whole set, all whole numbers are from 1 to 20. So 1 to 20 is the whole set. The whole set. And this whole set of whole numbers from 1 to 20 is called the universal set. In other words, the main group. The main group. Now, these universal sets, whole numbers from 1 to 20 only, between 1 to 20 only. And these are the numbers which are between 1 to 20. We will try to use this whole set to have a subset, a small group of multiples of 2 and multiples of 3. So, from the universal set, we have the subset, which is a subgroup of the main group. And the subgroup of the main group is called the subset. So, the subset is multiples of 2 from the universal group. Okay? We have subset A, multiples of 2. Now, from this whole subset, let us identify which numbers from 1 to 20 are multiples of 2. Okay? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 20. So, subset A is the multiples of 2, and these are all multiples of 2. Subset B, that's what our question is referring here. So, we have to find what are multiples of 2. Multiples of 3. So, multiples of 3 is the subset B. So, from this universal subset, which of these numbers are multiples of 3? So, in this universal set, from 1 to 20 as a whole set, we have two small subgroups. which is multiples of 2, subgroup of multiples of 2 from between 1 to 20, and subgroup of multiples of 3 from 1 to 20. So there are two subsets or subgroups from this universal set. Now, look at these two subsets and try to find out numbers which are common. You can find them in subset A and subset B. Six. Let's indicate the numbers first. So 6 is common here, 12 is common here, and 18. What do we call this set of numbers? Common? Okay, common, they are correct. They are common multiples of 2 and 3. But in maths, we call this as intersects. Okay? They are intersections. Subset of intersections. So these are the numbers which are, in other words, they are common in subset A and subset B. Now, the next thing that we will do, before we represent these sets in this Venn diagram, let us go back to our universal sets and cancel the numbers which are already in subset A and subset B. So, do we have 2 in subset, any of these subsets? Yes. Okay. 3? Yes. 4? Yes. 5? No. 6? Yes. 8? 9? Yes. 10? 12? 14? 15? 16? 18? And 20. Now we are going to represent these sets in this Venn diagram. The A represents all the subset A. What is subset A? So multiples of 2. And B represent multiples of 3. So these are all multiples of 2. Four, 8, 10, 14, 16, and 20. Multiples of subset B. 3, 9, and 15. What sets will go in here? 6, 12, 18. Okay, 6, 12, 18 are intersections which are common in multiples of 2 and multiples of 3. Is that all? What about these numbers which are not multiples of 2 and multiples of 3? Where do we place them? Outside the circle? Inside the square. We have them inside the square. 5, 7, 8, this set of numbers are numbers which are not multiples of 2 and multiples of 3. In other words, they are not subset of A and B. But they are also known as universal sets. So they have to be inside the rectangle. They are all the whole set. So these are the numbers which are not multiples of subset A and subset B, but they are part of the set. So if you look at your example there, this example is trying to show us how we can represent sets in a Venn diagram. One thing that I want you to know is the sets or the numbers in each of the subsets are known as elements. Okay? All these sets which are in each of those subsets are known as elements. Okay, we will go on to our activity. Very simple activity. Our activity is strategy group work. And the activity is on the screen, receiving students. You have to represent the set of whole numbers 1 to 20 in the correct part of the diagram. Okay? Subset A, numbers greater than 8. And subset B, numbers that are multiple of 3. So that is the question or activity. Receiving students, draw a diagram like that and represent the subset A, number of numbers greater than 8, and B, numbers that are multiple of 3. Receiving teacher, you may help the class with the diagram. Get the diagram down on the blackboard and let the students copy the diagram. You have to work it out from the set there. The set is the whole set is 1 to 20. So you work out from that set. You work out what numbers are greater than 8. Yeah, you for sure you know that what numbers are greater than 8, and then still on that set, whole set, you work out what numbers are multiples of 3.
And then the common ones will put them in.
Yep. Yep. I was trying to draw what you said there, but I used the wrong mark. I used the permanent marker.
Oh.
So when I came to rub it off, so I realized that. So what I did, I just put that diagram. numbers greater than 8. What are the numbers greater than 8 between 1 and 20? Oh, well, okay. But you must remember that some of these numbers, they are greater than 8, but they are multiples of 3 as well.
Already.
Yes.
Okay, I can do mine.
Finish? Good?
1, 2, 4.
Yes. Explain
10, 11, 12,
what numbers are greater than 8.
10, 11, 12.
Not 15.
No.
Yeah.
You see, subset A are numbers greater than 8. Okay, subset B, multiples of 3. Okay, different subset. You see that example there? Subset B is multiple of 3 and subset A is multiple of 2. But within those two subsets, there are common subsets which are multiple of 2 and multiple of 3. So in this case, there are some numbers between 1 and 20 greater than 8, but they might be multiple of 3. Okay?
For me, must be
Like 6. 6 is a intersection or common number. Common in multiple of 2 and multiple of 3. That's why we have it in the middle. So you identify, work out some numbers which are between 1 and 20 only. Okay? Finish? Finish? Okay. You guys should do it in a piece of paper first. Then. Good. Okay. Okay.
8, we put it out there because we didn't do it.
What?
8.
Your group decision is final, and you have to respect your group's decision. In a meeting, whatever decision you make, you have to respect it. So, you have come up with that answer that 8 should be outside. You have all agreed, so what's that outside? Sorry? Sure.
Why did you put 8?
Yeah,
8 is not
so-
in this set. 8 is not in this set. There's no 8 in this set.
Stuck, huh?
No, this one.
Wait. No, we did. We did. Calculations of probabilities. We did. Where? Language of probability.
It's only what?
This was the first. This was the first lesson.
28.
You remember tossing of coins? Tossing of coins 20 times. That's it's based on this. And this is the one that we did. Try to after that we calculated the results from. So that's the one based on this. Finish. Yes, ready. Next Monday. Only 2 only.
Problems will, on that day, you help us out.
No, it will be on air. You will come here and you will go through the activities. We will be recording. But after that, then we will be going to the classes to attend the recording. Finish.
It's a color.
Red, yellow.
It's a very simple exercise. Pass your time doing all that. Finish. Okay. It's not a simple, hard exercise.
See, look at
So what are these numbers here? They are intersection, subset, intersection of this A and B.
Why did you put 10 in this other set?
So let's go from
It's already more.
the food. Society.
Ben, can you do your work?
I forgot to do.
Little bit you can see. Okay, now let's see. You can do it in
Social sciences and 18, 19, 20, 18, 19, 20, 18, 19, 20. Trainee train. 22, 14, 18. One, two, four, five. 1, 2, 4, 5, 1. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7.
Put 10 on it.
Okay. Receiving students and ATs, I hope you have completed the activities. Now I'd like you to bring your, take your worksheet or activity to the board. Present them in front of the board. So model class, if you are finished, you bring yours and paste them on the board. And we will correct the exercise. Finish. Okay. Just put him good. Okay, put no up there, up there. Here, put them here. This one here. Have it there. Oops.
The second.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last two. Last two. Last two groups. Place them in the front. Put them on. Okay. Receiving students and 80s, we are going to look at the answers. I will put mine up and I'd like you to compare your answers with mine.
Putih tambah. Em subuh tambah kuasa.
So embarrassed.
Ten level. Ten.
Receiving students and 80s, you should have the answer. Please compare your answers and make corrections if you have made mistakes. The subset, which subset A are multiples, numbers greater than 8, 20, 10, 16, 11, 13, 17, 19, and 14. And subset B, multiples of 3, 6 and 3. And numbers intersection or numbers which are sets which are common, 9, 12, 15, and 18. And the sets or group of numbers which are not common, but they are part of the sets, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. So you should have something like this presented on your Venn diagram. Receiving students and 80s, I hope you have correct your answers. Our key phrase is sets. And our next lesson will be a revision lesson, receiving teacher. The first the revision lesson will be covering topics that we have learned. Receiving students and 80s, this has bring us to the end of the lesson for today. Thank you for your participation. Thank you.